Well, hello and welcome to the Wilcom video short for the digital edition. Today we're going to talk about the 7 most popular add-on elements now included in the designing package. The purpose of this short video is to show you what the icon looks like, where it's located inside the Wilcom software, and a quick example of how to use that particular feature inside the Wilcom EmbroideryStudio digital edition of the software. The first is going to be the shading and open fills. With the shading and open fills, the first tool that we have available here is the cross stitch effect. And this allows you to fill large areas with cross stitching on an invisible grid that applies to all design objects. This is the cross stitch. This is the icon that we look for with the cross stitch effect. This is going to be located in your fills toolbox. Here's your cross stitch. An example of how to use this, click on a closed object. At this point now, because it is a closed object, I can click on the cross stitch tool here. Cross stitch tool allows me to go in and fill this in a cross stitch effect. I can change the color of this. Here are your object properties here with your cross stitch, where you can go in and make the necessary adjustments for your stitches per inch and things like that. You have the ability also here to go down. I can choose a full cross for my stitch tile, or I can choose an upright cross for the stitch tile. And this is how the cross stitch feature works inside the Wilcom EmbroideryStudio Digital Edition. Next is going to be the stipple fill. The stipple fill, this is what the icon looks like here. This is also under your fills toolbox. As I navigate over, you're going to have 3 versions of this for the stipple fill. An example of how to use this is with the closed shape. I can select the item, choose the stipple fill. Once I select this, I'm able to go in and also change this to a back stitch and a stipple stitch as well. This allows me to go in also in my properties. As I scroll down, you have your loop spacing. Now it's at 7.5. If I make this 2.0 and press enter, it's going to increase the number of these lines inside my fill area here. This is the stipple fill effect. Next, we have the accordion spacing. This is the accordion spacing visual of what the little toolbox looks like here. This particular feature is going to be located in your stitch effects. Scroll here. Here's the accordion spacing icon. That's where that's located. To activate this with a closed shape, as I select this, I'm able to go in, change this into a tatami stitch. And once I change that into a tatami stitch, now I'm able to go in, navigate up top. Here's my accordion spacing. If I left click it, it's going to give me my object properties with my accordion. I can navigate, I can change my profile settings here like this. And it changes those to opposite of what the original one is. I can also go in, if I select here, I can navigate. I can adjust my stitch angle. I also have the ability, any lines that are inside the shape, and I could force those outlines to the outside. The way to do that here inside the software is you simply go into your stitch effects. You have a tool here that's called Trapunto. If I select Trapunto, it clears up any lines in the center. And this is the accordion spacing. Next, we have our color blending tool. The color blending tool, this is what the icon looks like here. And the color blending tool is this icon here, but as you can see, is grayed out because nothing has been selected with the closed shape with the tatami stitch fill in it. This is going to be under your toolbox. Select the object. Notice once I select the object here, now the icon lights up. I'll left click. It's going to bring up the color blending toolbox. Here at the bottom, this is going to be the bottom layer of fill closest to the fabric. You're always going to want that to be your constant profile. It's going to fill that area in completely. Color number 2, and you are limited to 2 colors. I'll choose color number 16. Here you have your stitch density settings here also. Here you have your profiles. Once I select a profile, I can change that profile in my accordion tools. So let's select this one. Once I select this one and click OK, you'll see the color blending tool take effect here. And what this does, I select it, I click on a color blending tool here. Everything is already set here, and I click OK. Here is what it looks like after that color blending tool has taken effect. At this point now, I can navigate. I'll right click on my accordion spacing, my profiles. I can change these. You are limited again to 2 colors with this, and that is the color blending tool and how it works inside the Wilcom EmbroideryStudio Digital Edition. Next, we have our curve fills. The curve fills inside the software. I'm going to zoom in here to our next little project. The Florentine effect, this is what the icon looks like. It's also located under your Stitch Effects toolbar. And the way that this works, I can use this tool. Here is the Florentine effect. Once I select a closed fill, I'll transform that to a tatami stitch fill. Once I change that to a tatami stitch fill, you can see that the Florentine effect is now alive. And once I select it here, I'm going to click. This allows me to go in, change the direction of the fill to a curve fill effect, like you see here. I can open the fill up by going into my properties. I can open that fill up here. I can adjust this. It allows me to go in and create this effect, and at the same time, I can also navigate and choose the trapunto. This lets me create a very nice looking little wave here inside the Wilcom software. The next tool is going to be the liquid effect tool. This one creates custom patterns stitching in 2 different directions. This is what this tool does inside the software. How it works is like this. I'm just going to go in. I'll select my closed item. With the liquid effect, it's also inside the Stitch Effects tool. I'm going to digitize. I'll choose complex fill. Choose and I'll select liquid effect here. At this point, digitize my shape first. I enter my entry point and my exit point. Now I'll do my first stitch angle, press enter, start from the beginning here again on side B, enter my stitch angle, and press enter. This particular tool here, as I select this, I'll go into my properties, change my density. So this is what this looks like. If I select my reshape tool, it shows me both stitch angles used to create this football effect. This is the liquid effect tool. The next tool that we want to talk about here is going to be the contour tool. This is what the icon looks like. This is going to be in your fills. Here's your contour tool here. The way that this works, again, I'll select a closed object, fill this in with the tatami stitch like this. With the contour tool, I'll just navigate up top and I'll select contour. Contour shape following the actual shape of the object is what this allows you to create inside the Wilcom software. I'll choose my tatami stitch fill, change my color here. I will navigate up top here and click on my contour tool. And this allows me to go in and adjust this contour tool. I can go to my reshape mode and I can adjust. I can change my shape here also. This allows me to go in and create a nice looking effect here using this particular tool inside the software. If I change the stitch angle, it also changes the appearance of what it looks like as well. This is the contour tool. This tool allows you to create curves where stitches follow the actual contour of the shape. The next tool is going to be your spiral fill. This is the icon of what the spiral fill looks like inside the Wilcom software. It's going to be under your fills, and it's going to be this particular icon here. Once I select an object like this, I can immediately go in and choose the spiral fill. As it goes in, fills in the fill area here, I have the ability now to go in, spacing on this. I can adjust the spacing on this here. Once I select this, I can go to my reshape mode. Here in my reshape mode, I have the ability to go in and move my little object here. And again, this particular tool here inside the software, it creates a radiating from the center of the object. This is going to be my center of my object here. I can go in and I can adjust where this fills in. And based on the shape that you're working with inside the software, this gives you a really, really nice effect that you can work with inside the software. As you select, choose your contour, choose your spiral, go to your reshape mode, and this is going to be the center here again. This center can be moved in any direction. I can open up the density on this fill. To achieve some very, very nice effects inside the Wilcom software. The next tool that we'll talk about here is going to be the Rephoto Stitch. This is your icon for the Rephoto Stitch. This is what it looks like here. You'll find this in your auto digitizing tools. This is the icon here that you'll find for this. For this stitch here, I'll need a bitmap file or photograph. As I select it here and go into my auto digitizing tools, once I choose the Rephoto Stitch effect here, it's going to give me a pop-up on my screen like this. At this point now, it shows me my source bitmap and the adjustment. I'm just going to click OK here. It's going to fill in. I can change my color. And this is what this effect does inside the Wilcom EmbroideryStudio software. The next tool is going to be the Photo Flash. With the Photo Flash, this creates a whole embroidery design directly from photograph. And this is also in your auto digitizing tools. Once I select this, here's my little camera. I'll click the Photo Flash. Once it goes in, here it's going to give me a pop-up and I'll choose the resolution that I want to use, coarse, medium, fine. And I'll use a 45-degree stitch angle. And it generates this effect and it stitches it. Zoomed in, you have a combination of satin and running stitches. So this is what that looks like inside the Wilcom EmbroideryStudio software now. This is your Photo Flash. The next tool that we're going to look at here is going to be your outlines and offsets. This particular tool is located in your toolbox, and this allows you to go in. If I select a closed object, I can navigate. This is the toolbar here. This allows me to go in, create overlapping objects here as well as different offsets. This allows me to create the outlines and offsets of any type shape for any filled or closed vector embroidery here inside the Wilcom software. Here for my offset patterns here, I just have one. I can add colors here if I want to by clicking the plus sign. Here I just want to go in and I want to use a sculpture run stitch here, or let me change this here to a running stitch here. On the bottom here, I want a zigzag column C stitch for this outline. I'm going to navigate here. I'm just going to click OK. That's going to go in and it's going to fill this in with the stitch types that I selected in the outlines and offsets toolbar. Great tool. The last tool that we're going to take a look at here is the arrange tools. With the arrange tools, this is what this looks like here. This is your toolbox for it here. And with the arrange tools, this allows you to go in and do some really, really nice stuff here also. At this point here also, once I go in, I can move, I can align, I can distribute offset. This allows me to move, align, distribute objects, as well as group and lock any operations that I'm working with inside the software. For instance, right in this arrange tools, probably the most used here will be your group settings here inside the software. If I want to go in at this particular point here and I want to group objects together, I can select. Here are my list of objects here on my screen. Here, these objects are separated. If I select one, press my shift key down and select the other, I can now navigate. I can group these objects. Once I select group, this groups these objects together now. So now that when I go in and click one, I select them all. I can also go in and I can ungroup these objects here by selecting this tool, ungroup. If I have objects that I'm working with here inside the software and I want to go in, I can select an object like this. If I want to go in and make these objects here on the same line, if I go in, once I select this object here, press shift and selects this one here. Now you'll have objects here that I can go in. With these items here, I can select, press my shift key and select this one. I can go in and center these items. I could align it right. Here, lets me go in and align the top. This one centers them horizontally. This one centers it at the bottom. This tool here allows you to go in and align both centers of each object that I'm having here on my screen. If I want to go in as well, I can select, press my Shift key and select these. I can align these evenly across, like this. I can align them evenly down. Once I select everything here, I can choose Align, and it aligns those at the bottom here. If I select an item, if I click this one and then this one, if I select an item here and then click this one, I can choose to make those the same width. I can make it the same width and height, or I can make them the same height only. This is your arrange tools. These tools, very popular tools, very powerful tools inside the Wilcom software. Hope that you learned something today. Thank you for tuning in. As always, happy digitizing.